Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going. Today we have predictions for 6 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the Houston Rockets and Dallas Mavericks. Guys, I'm telling you, tonight's game in Dallas is one of those matchups that really gets my blood pumping. The Rockets are coming in hungry, looking to flip the script and show the Mavericks who is boss, especially since Houston's already done it twice this season. I still remember that New Year's Day showdown. The Rockets started off a bit slow, trailing 30-24 after the first quarter, but then exploded in the second, outscoring Dallas 37-22. It was like watching a comeback story in real time, and they kept that momentum rolling through the third. When you see a team that can turn a sluggish start into a high-octane performance, you know you're in for a treat. I've been keeping tabs on the Rockets' key players, and man, Alperen Sengun has been nothing short of sensational, dropping 23 points and making his presence felt in the paint like a true all-star in the making. And don't even get me started on Jalen Green, who's been lighting it up with 22 points, carving through defenses like he's got something to prove. They got solid support from Dillon Brooks, chipping in 19, and Jabari Smith adding a steady 12. Off the bench, Cam Whitmore really stepped up, hitting 18 on efficient shooting, 7 of 9 overall, and a smooth 3 of 4 from downtown. The Rockets were sizzling at a 47.2% clip from the field and splashing 32% from beyond the arc. Sure, they lost the board battle 38-35, but their defensive hustle, racking up 17 steals that forced 20 turnovers, more than made up for it. That's the kind of scrappy, relentless play that wins games in his league. Now, I'll be straight with you. The Rockets have been dealing with some interior issues. Their rim protection has been a bit iffy, and they could really use some extra muscle inside to lock things down in the paint. But if they can keep those three-point shots falling and continue to hustle on defense, I wouldn't be surprised if they cover that roughly 5-point spread tonight. Over on the Mavericks side, things are a bit more complicated. They've shown flashes of brilliance on the road, pulling off impressive wins, even taking down the Celtics on the road. When their offense is clicking and the ball is moving like a well-oiled machine, the Mavs can be a real thorn in anyone's side. However, off-court drama seems to be a recurring theme for them lately. There's chatter about some of the fans being fed up with recent front office moves, and it looks like protests might be buzzing outside the arena. Now, while a loud and passionate crowd can sometimes fire up a team, it can also be a massive distraction when you need to focus on grinding out every possession on the hardwood. For me, tonight boils down to which team can really impose their game plan on both ends of the floor. The Rockets need to keep up their deadly shooting from deep. Those extra buckets are what keep games close and momentum swinging. They've got to keep turning defense into offense, swarming and forcing turnovers like they did in that big win. On the flip side, the Mavericks need to set the pace, keep the ball moving, and make sure they're not giving up easy opportunities by missing those critical rebounds. They'll have to be smart, work the lanes, and make every possession count if they want to counter Houston's physical play. I know a lot of folks are sweating over the Rockets because they've come off a 5-game skid lately, and it's been rough watching them lose games they should have won. But look, their road track record earlier in the season, something like 32-19 overall and a solid run against the spread, shows that these guys know how to bounce back when the pressure's on. With Sengun and Green leading the charge, and young guns like Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore ready to spark things up, I'm all in on Houston tonight. They've already proven they can beat Dallas, and if they tighten up their interior defense and keep their shooting hot, I'm convinced they'll not only grab the win, but also cover that 5-point spread. At the end of the day, it's all about momentum and execution. The Rockets are ready to bring that high-octane offense and aggressive, sticky defense back to Texas, and I'm expecting them to turn the heat on the Mavericks. Sure, the Mavs have talent and can light up a scoreboard when things click, but the combination of off-court distractions and Houston's proven edge in head-to-head matchups has me leaning hard toward the Rockets. Tonight's battle is going to be a gritty, hard-nosed affair where every steal, every rebound, and every three-pointer counts. I can't wait to see how it unfolds, and if the Rockets play to their strengths, they're going to walk out with the W and make a strong statement on the road.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the Indiana Pacers and Los Angeles Lakers. Man, if you ask me, tonight's matchup in downtown LA is shaping up to be one heck of a showdown. The Indiana Pacers are on a Southern California road trip, and they're coming to town to try and steal a win against the mighty Lakers. Now, don't get me wrong, the Lakers have historically run the Pacers, leading the head-to-head by a good margin, 65-35, but the Pacers have been chipping away at that edge lately. They split the last 10 meetings and even managed a 3-2 record in their last 5 games on the LA floor. That comeback win over the Clippers, where they were down big after a rough first quarter, but then exploded in the third and turned on the switch in the fourth, was a statement. But replicating that magic against a Lakers squad known for getting off to fast starts, that's a tall order. I gotta say, Indiana's got some weapons that could make a difference. Pascal Siakam, for example, came off big against the Clippers, dropping 33 points and pulling down 11 boards. He's going to be a key factor tonight, likely facing off against bigs like Jackson Hayes or even the ever-dynamic LeBron. Then there's Tyrese Haliburton. He lit it up in the second half last game, scoring most of his 14 points when it mattered most. And let's not forget Miles Turner, who's been a beast on the boards. Turner's presence in the paint gives the Pacers that extra rebounding punch, something they'll desperately need if they're going to contain the Lakers' fast break tempo. On the flip side, the Lakers are riding high at home. They've been nearly unstoppable on their own turf, sporting a killer 17-6 record in the Palace, and they're coming into this contest with some swagger after a win over the Warriors. LeBron James, man, he's still proving why he's in a league of his own, dropping 42 points and joining that exclusive club of 40-plus point performances at 40 years old. When LeBron's on the court, you know things are about to get wild. The Lakers' game plan is going to hinge on him firing on all cylinders, especially since there's talk about some uncertainty with Austin Reeves, and even Mark Williams being listed as questionable. But knowing the Lakers, I don't think you're going to see them sit these guys out unless it's absolutely necessary, especially with a doubleheader looming against the Jazz before the All-Star break. Speaking of Reeves, he's been a bit of a roller coaster lately, putting up 23 points in one game, but struggling with his shooting efficiency, going for 17 in his last outing. And then there's Rui Hachimura, who's been a solid contributor, but needs to find his rhythm from deep. Without a doubt, the Lakers will have to dial in on their shooting and play tight defense to keep the Pacers in check. And while the anticipation of Luka Doncic potentially suiting up in a Lakers jersey on Monday is electrifying, tonight's contest will have to rely on the familiar faces. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. If LeBron, Reeves, and the rest of the Lakers' main guys are on the floor, I'm leaning hard toward the Lakers covering a 4-point spread. Their home court advantage, coupled with a recent string of wins and that extra dose of veteran leadership from LeBron, gives them the edge. But if the Pacers can get their big men like Turner and Siakam to dominate the boards, and if Haliburton finds his shooting rhythm, then we might just see a nail-biter. The Pacers have the tools, they just need to bring the consistency and composure they showed in that comeback against the Clippers. At the end of the day, I'm putting my money on the Lakers if those key guys are suiting up. Their ability to start games fast and control the tempo, especially at home, is hard to beat. Still, don't sleep on the Pacers. They've been on fire on the road, turning a rough start into a competitive record away from home. It's one of those matchups where a few plays, a couple of missed shots, or even a late injury update could swing the momentum. So if you're in on the action, keep your eyes peeled on those injury reports before making any calls. In my view, assuming LeBron and Reeves hit the floor, the Lakers will likely run away with it, covering that 4-point spread. But if the Pacers catch fire, especially with their bigs taking control of the glass, we could see some serious drama. Either way, tonight's game is shaping up to be a real treat for Hoops fans, full of grit, heart, and the kind of unpredictable moments that make basketball such a joy to watch. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the Oklahoma City Thunder and Memphis Grizzlies. Alright, listen up. This Saturday's matchup between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Oklahoma City Thunder is shaping up to be one of those can't-miss hoops showdowns. I've been watching both teams heat up lately, and honestly, you can feel the electricity in the air already. The Thunder are coming off a monster win against the Suns, a 140-109 blowout that's got everyone talking. They've been on a roll recently, winning 3 straight and sporting a 7-3 run over their last 10 games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, in particular, has been lighting it up. He dropped 50 points in just 34 minutes, drilling 3 trays on an efficient night. Now, OKC is known for sometimes easing off in the fourth quarter, but against a Grizzlies squad that's been relentless, they're going to have to bring every ounce of energy they've got. Speaking of Memphis, these guys are no pushovers. Sitting right behind the Thunder in the Western Conference, the Grizzlies have been rolling hard, 10 wins out of 11 recent outings, and a sweet 138-107 win over the Raptors to boot. They've been blowing opponents out by double digits in their last 3 games, and it's no surprise given that they're currently the highest scoring team in the league, averaging a blistering 123.8 points per game. When you watch Memphis, you see a team that thrives on fast breaks, quick transitions, and a never-say-die hustle that turns defense into offense. Now, when we break it down, you've got key pieces on both sides that could swing the game. For the Thunder, aside from Shai's explosive scoring, the return of defensive ace Alex Caruso is a big boost. Caruso's presence on the wing always adds that extra bit of grit and hustle, and with guys like Isaiah Hartenstein holding down the paint and Chet Holmgren slowly finding his rhythm after a lengthy absence, OKC's depth is something to watch. Aaron Wiggins has also been stepping up when needed, which just shows how deep this roster really is. On the flip side, Memphis's dynamic duo is on fire. Ja Morant is back and already making waves, dropping 25 points against the Spurs and 26 against the Raptors. His speed and playmaking are off the charts. Then there's Jaren Jackson Jr., averaging over 26 points a night while shooting more than 55% from the field. The dude's been a scoring machine, dishing out 37 points against the Bucks and consistently hitting the 31-32 mark in other games. When Morant and Jackson combine, they're handing out 50 points like it's nothing, and that's a challenge for any defense. Tactically, this game is going to be a chess match between 2 very different styles. Memphis loves to run the floor. They're all about that quick transition and exploiting early chaos, turning defense into a fast break frenzy. The Thunder, however, are set up to lock down that early pace. They need to force the Grizzlies into a half-court game where their explosive offense loses some of its shine. If OKC can slow down Morant's darting drives and contain Jackson's smooth scoring in the paint, they've got a shot to tilt the balance. It's going to be a battle of quick breaks versus disciplined defensive sets, and that's where the rubber meets the road. And then there's the matter of home court. Memphis isn't just any arena, it's a fortress. The Grizzlies have been 21-5 at home this season, and while the Thunder have done well on the road overall, history tells us that OKC tends to struggle in Memphis. Sure, the Thunder have covered the spread in several of these matchups on their own turf, but when they step into the Grizzlies' den, the atmosphere changes. The crowd's energy, the familiarity of the court, it all adds up to a real advantage for Memphis, especially when the Thunder are coming off a back-to-back and dealing with travel. Personally, I'm leaning towards the Grizzlies in this one. Don't get me wrong, OKC is a formidable squad, arguably one of the best teams in the league right now, but Memphis's high-octane offense and home-court swagger give them a slight edge. If the Grizzlies keep up their fast break tempo and continue hitting those high percentage shots, they should not only control the flow of the game, but also cover a modest spread of a couple of points. It's a tight call, and I expect plenty of fireworks, but I'm calling it. The Grizzlies take this one. At the end of the day, whether you're a hardcore fan, a bettor looking for some action, or just someone who loves to watch quality basketball, this game is set to deliver. We're talking a clash of offensive dynamite versus strategic defensive stops, a real display of modern NBA basketball at its finest. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and get ready to witness some of the best hoops action in the Western Conference. The fourth prediction for today is for a game between the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks. Guys, I'm telling you, this Eastern Conference clash between the Celtics and Knicks is shaping up to be an absolute barn burner. I've been watching both teams on the fly lately, and while the Celtics always look like the heavy favorites on paper, the Knicks are playing with that garden magic that makes every matchup a potential upset. The Celtics, sitting second in the East and trailing the Cavs by about 5.5 games, have been doing their thing on the road. 20-6 away from home is nothing to sneeze at, but their home form at TD Garden has been off, racking up losses they didn't have last season. They're coming off a 127-120 loss to the Mavs, and even though they had a solid 4-game win streak before that, you know they can be a bit inconsistent when it comes to defense. In that game, they looked kind of flat on the perimeter and in the paint, and it's something they'll need to fix fast if they want to keep their title aspirations alive. Now, the Knicks are riding high and only about 1.5 games behind Boston in the standings. With a record of 34-17 overall and a recent 121-115 win over the Raptors, they've been on an 8-2 tear in their last 10 games, winning 7 of their last 8, no less. There's just something about playing at MSG that gets you fired up, and you can bet the Garden will be buzzing as the Knicks look to close the gap. Jalen Brunson has been on a scoring tear, averaging nearly 28 points over his last 10 games, and he's been extra clutch down the stretch, hitting those big shots when the clock's winding down. And you know Josh Hart has been a beast on the boards, grabbing double-digit rebounds and setting the tone on the glass. On the Celtics side, all eyes are on Jason Tatum. The last time these squads locked horns at MSG, Tatum exploded for 37 points with 10 dimes, and he's been averaging about 6.3 boards a game recently. If the Knicks can disrupt his rhythm and force Boston to rely on secondary options, things could get interesting. I'm also keeping an eye on the potential return of Drew Holiday. He's been listed as day-to-day, and if he gets back on the floor, his defensive chops might be the key to slowing down Brunson's aggressive drives. Meanwhile, on the Knicks front, with OG and Anunoby sidelined for now, Precious Achiuwa is set to see more minutes alongside Hart in the big man role. There's also chatter about Mitchell Robinson possibly returning soon, which would be huge. Pairing him with Karl Anthony in the paint could really tilt the boards in New York's favor. And don't sleep on Mikal Bridges. If he's on his game, he can help lock down the Celtics when it matters most. Now, historically speaking, Boston's had the upper hand in these meetings. They've taken 5 of the last 6 contests against New York, even winning on the hostile turf of MSG. But the Knicks' recent momentum and that raucous home court vibe can't be ignored. Sure, Boston is loaded with talent and battle-tested in big games, but they've been known to slip up in unexpected ways, sometimes dropping games after a win when they let their guard down. And honestly, if the Celtics get too comfortable or let their defense lapse again, the Knicks are more than ready to pounce. Personally, I'm leaning toward New York covering a slim 3-point spread. The Garden crowd, the hot hand Brunson is riding, and the overall momentum for the Knicks make this a prime opportunity for a signature win that could shift the balance in this tight race. Every possession is gonna matter, and if New York brings the energy and intensity on defense, I wouldn't be surprised to see them upset the status quo. Whether you're a diehard Boston fan or a Knicks supporter hungry for a Garden upset, this game is one you won't want to miss. It's going to be a high-octane, hard-fought battle with plenty of clutch moments and jaw-dropping plays, classic hoops action at its finest. The fifth prediction for today is for a game between the Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns. Man, if you ask me, this game was shaping up to be your classic Western Conference battle, but the Nuggets have completely stolen the show lately. I've been watching the Nuggets on a tear, at 33-19 and riding a 5-game win streak. They've really been playing like a well-oiled machine. Take their blowout of the Magic, 112-90, for example. Sure, their schedule has been kind to them, but you can't ignore the fact that Denver's been lighting it up night in and night out. Everything centers around Nikola Jokic, who's been posting career-high averages, 29.7 points, 12.7 rebounds, 10.3 assists, and it's like he's running the entire show. Jamal Murray, too, has finally found his groove after a rocky start, and Michael Porter Jr. has been dropping buckets like it's nothing, recently averaging a whopping 35 points over 3 games. Offensively, Denver is crushing it, dishing out almost 120 points per 100 possessions, even if their defense isn't quite elite yet. On the flip side, the Suns have been a whole different story. They've been all over the place, sitting at 26 to 25 and struggling to get consistent rotations on the floor. Their latest win against the Jazz at 135 to 127 snapped a 3-game skid, but it doesn't mask the bigger issues. The trade of Jusuf Nurkic for Vasilija Micic and Cody Martin might look like a smart long-term move, but in the short run, it's left them light in the paint. And don't even get me started on the injury drama. Kevin Durant's nagging issues have thrown off the team's rhythm. Sure, KD is still putting up 26.9 points per game with solid rebounding and playmaking, but his shooting's been off. And Devin Booker is being forced to carry a heavy load while his three-point shooting sits at a disappointing 34.1%. From a betting perspective, I've got to say, the Suns have been a nightmare to take. They're covering the spread in only about 34.7% of their games, and their back-to-back struggles aren't helping at all, only 2 wins out of 9 in those situations. When you look at it, the Suns are trying to piece together how their big three can work, but their defense is leaking, and they've given up 116.5 points per 100 possessions. That's a recipe for disaster, especially when you consider they're heading into a back-to-back game while already reeling from a tough contest. Now, when you break down the matchup, it's clear the Nuggets have the momentum and the chemistry. They've been more consistent, playing smart, controlling the pace, and really taking care of business. Meanwhile, Phoenix is still trying to figure out their identity, and with key players either in doubt or not firing on all cylinders, it's hard to see them turning things around. Personally, I wouldn't even take the Suns with a 10-foot pull at this point. I'm leaning hard toward Denver. With Jokic orchestrating the offense and the rest of the squad stepping up, Denver's poised not just to win, but to cover that 3.5-point spread. Bottom line, if you're watching this game, you're looking at a situation where the Nuggets' offensive juggernaut meets a Suns squad that's lost its way. The Nuggets are set to control the tempo, and unless Durant and Booker suddenly find a spark, Phoenix is going to keep struggling on both ends. For me, it's a no-brainer. Go with Denver, expect a strong performance, and watch as the Nuggets continue their climb in the Western Conference. The sixth prediction for today is for a game between the New Orleans Pelicans and Sacramento Kings. They've been mulling over tonight's matchup between the Kings and Pelicans, and honestly, it's shaping up to be a real test of grit on both sides. The Pelicans have been riding a rough patch all season. They just got crushed by the Nuggets, 144 to 119, and their overall record is a tough pill to swallow, only 12 wins against 39 losses, and don't even get me started on their road woes, with a paltry 4 wins away from home. Every time they hit the court, it feels like someone's missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. Injuries have been relentless, and even though the Pelicans have enough talent on paper, when your key guys like Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson are constantly fighting through nagging issues and endless what-if scenarios, it's hard to build any momentum. Frankly, it seems like they're just trying to make it to the end of the season, maybe even playing for the sake of the game rather than any realistic playoff hopes. On the flip side, the Kings are in a bit of a better spot, at least from where I'm standing. Sure, they stumbled in that 108 to 102 loss to the Blazers on the road, but they're sitting at a respectable 25 to 26 and still in the playoff hunt. Sacramento's been retooling their rotation, and while there have been some adjustments, new pieces like Jake Larvie coming in from Memphis have added fresh energy. Their core remains intact. Malik Monk has been lighting it up, and even though Domantas Sabonis didn't put up his usual numbers last game, his hustle on the boards is something the Pelicans will have to figure out how to slow down. And let's not forget De'Aaron Fox, whose explosive playmaking is still the heartbeat of the team. They're not running from challenges, they're adapting, and I can see them using their home court advantage as the fuel they need to get back on track. What really gets me excited is how this game could pivot the season for Sacramento. They're hungry for a win, every possession counts now. I expect them to dial in on defense, especially clamping down on the paint and making sure that bigs like Sabonis don't get easy buckets. Offensively, the Kings need to keep the ball moving and look to exploit the Pelicans' patchy rotation. It's a classic matchup where the home team has the opportunity to turn up the intensity, and I'm leaning hard on the Kings to not only pull out the win, but also cover the spread. For me, it's all about momentum. The Pelicans are clearly in survival mode, and unless they can rally their injured stars into something resembling consistency, I don't see them pulling off an upset on the road. Meanwhile, the Kings are looking to silence the doubters with a strong defensive performance and a collective scoring effort. I'm expecting a gritty, hard-nosed contest where the Kings' determination and improved chemistry finally shine through. When the final buzzer sounds, I believe Sacramento will come away with a solid win, one that might just be the spark they need to reestablish themselves in the playoff conversation. So, in my book, it's a clear Kings all the way scenario tonight. The Pelicans might put up a fight if their veterans catch fire, but the odds are stacked in favor of Sacramento riding a wave of home court energy and resilience. Let's see if the Kings can capitalize on this opportunity and turn another tough matchup into a turning point for their season.